what is changing in China? First of all, wages and salaries are increasing more than in any other, I don't say any other, but in most countries of the world. They increased 150% from 1999 to 2006, in 7 years, 150%. In the last 5 years, 19% per year, and in the United States, 4% per year. If you add the value of the renminbi that moved between 3 and 4%, you have an enormous difference, in terms of changing cost. You have examples that are, better than I do. Foxconn in 2010 doubled wages and salaries, and in the same 2010 the minimum salaries increased 20% in 20 Chinese provinces. So you have this movement that clearly changed completely the structure of cost. But clearly this is not the only aspect. The other aspect is productivity growth, and productivity in China has grown in a fantastic way, but 8.5% per year. That is a fantastic achievement, but is less than half than the increase of wages and salaries. And so the change in the world structure is coming, because these are, if these things go on, is a very big and deep change. But which are the forecasts? The common forecasts for China are not different from what was the experience in the past year. Let's say the last forecasts are that there will be a total increase, a little less than before, but a total increase of 80% per year. So not so different from the past. And clearly this is one point, but there is also another point, that because of automation, because of that, the added value of the labor in the cost of the final goods is decreasing every year, So in the video cameras now, if you take what he's doing now, is only 7% of added value of the final value is cost of labor. Only 7%. Of course, in the mechanic sector, it's more. For auto components or motor car components is 25%. But even that is is not. And so labor is becoming less and less cheap, and the importance of labor in the final value is less and less. So, and then there is another additional factor that in the United States, this is not concerning Europe, this is concerning the United States, the cost of energy and gas are relatively decreasing vis-à-vis China. If we take energy, we had a new event that has been till now underestimated. The shale gas and the new technology of recovering second, let's say, production of oil is changing totally the energy structure of the United States. U.S. is becoming an export country in energy, and the cost of gas is take the American gas with shale. Gas is not easy to transport like oil. You need pipelines or liquefaction and gasification. It costs a lot. Now in this moment you have the difference between the cost of long-term contracts of gas, typically the German or Italian gas coming from Russia by pipeline, and the cost of shale gas in the United States is 1 to 4. Not half, it's 1 to 4. It varies from 1 to 3 and 1 to 4. So the relative advantage of the United States in terms of energy, that is more and more important for production, is coming out as a new event of the world. And land, this is strange to verify that per square feet land is more expensive in China than in the United States. The figures statistically, is average $15 per square meters square foot in Nanjing, 17 in Shanghai, 21 in Shenzhen, and U.S. average is 10, and your state like Tennessee and Alabama that is 1/3 of 10, Also because the country has a lot of land, and the inhabitants are not so many as the Chinese, but this has a big influence on the cost, on the relative costs, And so the new phenomenon that is started and will go on is the expatriation of industry, of low added value industry from China to neighbor countries. Vietnam, Indonesia, Cambodia, and something going back to the United States. But this, look, you have many headlines, industry is back and so on and so on, but when I try to analyze how many companies went back, the number is still very small. But there are cases that were not existing few years ago, and clearly summing up this picture, keeping account of productivity, keeping account of energy cost, keeping account of land cost, which is a different cost of labor per hour, put it together. Not easy to do it, but some hint I can give you is now in 2010, $21 average in the United States and $8 average in China. Still big, but it was 40 times in the old time, Now 1 to 8 is big, but But in 2015, taking all what I told you before, so 2015 is tomorrow, in 3 years, it will be $25 United States and 15 China. So it is different, but not so much, taking account of productivity all compared together, And clearly the competition will also determined by the value of the renminbi, and the forecast is difficult to say, but you understand why there was this pushing on the American side to reevaluate the renminbi, because when you have this type of change, if you have with the change of money, immediately you completely change the convenience. And then, what is more important, you have the problem, now the American hypothesis that the Chinese export to US will decrease substantially because of this fact that I explained, but also because some duties that's because of quarrels, because of tension are going up and down, because of the security supply, and what the American experts say, because of the internal increase of the Chinese market, which the Chinese companies are more and more, or the international companies producing in China are more and more interested to the Chinese market, and they make less pressure on international market. But which is the dimension, to have a concrete idea, the dimension in 2015 the internal Chinese market for industrial goods will be 2/3 of the internal US market. So big, substantial, but still a little smaller, and if you take the per capita, still an enormous difference, but enough to consider the internal Chinese market one of the, let's say, of the most important strategic destination of the Chinese production.